from their encounters with races from other planets. The information is the activation. Let's awaken this world together. We are the forever students, and we will not be silent. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. It's pretty wild. Welcome, everybody, to Full Spectrum Universe. My name is Rob Yox. This is the Embattled broadcast from behind enemy lines in the once great state of New York. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tonight, everything around us is changing. Are you noticing it? Do you see what's happening around you? Tonight, we're going to break into a little bit of what I like to call is some collective reconnaissance. And what we're doing is we're going to be basically talking about, it's just going to be me tonight. It's not going to be any presentations. We're not going into that. We're going to be talking about the things that I've noticed lately around the ethers and the energies and how things are absolutely changed since this last winter solstice. Also, I'm going to I didn't really get a chance to propose my gratitudes on that event because I was working. There was a lot going on, a little bit of work behind the scenes, and I didn't get a chance to discuss what I'm grateful for. So I'm going to be touching on that too. I just want to let everybody know, please, if you can, subscribe, smash that like button, share this out because these conversations have tremendous impact for people getting to know the channel and myself and the work that we truly do here. Also, when this video is finished, please leave a comment underneath the Ascended Masters video with all of the comments that were underneath it, propelled it to 1,800 views in the last, in probably within 24 to 48 hours. It was truly incredible, truly incredible. But we have a couple of announcements to go through as well before we get to the content or the meat and potatoes of the episode. In January, I don't know if it's going to be the second or third week, we're going to be starting a course. This is going to be an energetics course, not just energetics in the way that you're thinking. We're going to be talking about energies. We're going to be explaining energies. We're going to be talking about grids. We're going to be getting down to how to interact with grids. We're also going to be giving you pivotal information that has to deal with histories and the way that we see these grids and how everything works together. Also, we're going to be going over specific meditations, sound healing, and a bunch of other topics that are going to clear the energies and bring the balance back to consciousness and the vessel. And that is truly what we're going to be doing. This is going to be a paid course. There's going to be a ton of time involved. We're going to be setting precedent for each episode of that course. It's going to be completely interactive. It's also going to be completely uncensored. So there's going to be things that this will not be recorded. This will be live for those people who are watching it. We'll have recordings later on. It will be recorded during the session, but this is going to be a little bit more multi-interactive where people are going to be able to come up, ask questions, do what they have to do. And we're really going to get into the practicalities of energetics and how changing your life on an energetic level can have such an effect to you walking through this world every day. We're going to be going over techniques to change our consciousness and our subconsciousness. We're going to be talking about different things that we're going to basically when Phil Gruber says the information is the activation, that is what we're going to use as our stepping stone to propel us into this new harmonious 4D, 5D reality that we live in now that the winter solstice has happened. So many things are swirling through my mind right now. And tonight's stream is also completely interactive. If you have any questions at any time or any comments, please throw them in the chat. I'm actually sitting back and reading the chat because I'm not reading off of something that I've prepared or, really going through a lot of things. So first, I want to start with the topic at hand, and that is the world is changing around us, right? So we knew that 2022 was the year of the truth seeker. We saw that. We saw tons of people creating investigations or investigation protocols to essentially go through specific topics and find the truth within those topics. There was so many truthers out there doing great work. They were just doing superb work and really bringing forward information that was so heavily shielded, guarded, and essentially wiped off the entire platforms and things like that. So we're walking into 2023, which is this is the last episode before 2023. 2023 will be a new year. We'll be moving into our third year of broadcasting in that sense. So it's going to be completely exciting with some of the new things we have lined up for you. Some of the events that me and Omar are putting together for you in 2023. It's going to essentially piggyback off some of the sessions that we'll be doing in private, but also online for everybody to see. And 2023 is going to be the year of accountability. What do I mean by that? All of the work that was done in 2022 to bring facts and truths to bear is essentially going to it's going to lay the foundation for what's coming in 2023 is where we hold the parties that are basically holding down humanity in its true potential, and we're going to have accountability. There is already legislature and or court cases that are going to be holding some people accountable, hopefully, if things go the right way. But we're not talking really political, right? We're talking about the energetics of it as well. We're talking about the foundations that we've built by spreading this truth and essentially clearing out the grids of these negative or artificial structures, right? There's a big push towards transhumanism as well. We're going to see that sort of take a back seat to human potential. And I think that that is going to be the end all be all for a lot of these people who are prominent and pushing these agendas. We're also going to show the world that the people of not just this movement, but the movements across the world that are spiritual people who are not subscribed to a specific religion and have opened up our minds to these different paradigms, our voices are going to be known and heard. Our community is going to step into the prominence of all humankind. And why is that? It's going to happen that way because a lot of people out there are lost. Their souls walking around this earth. And what they're doing is they're looking for ways to essentially graduate or to be a part of something and not feel so, I don't know. I want to say, feel they're going to take their NPC status and step on it. Susan, thank you so much for that super chat. That is absolutely amazing. You are incredible. Thank you so much. We love everybody here and we love you so much for supporting the broadcast. All of the money that this broadcast makes is going to be put towards future endeavors in which we're going to be bringing even more truths and even more information to the people. That's really what I am, right? I am an information broker. I find it, I bring it back to you guys, and then you tell me what you think, right? But back to it, the accountability of it all. So not only is it going to be accountability for the people who are trying to oppress humanity, there's going to be accountability for us. We're going to hold ourselves accountable. And what do I mean by that? Right? It could sound so detrimental in so many different ways, but it's not. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Our ability to process and cognitively think and critical thinking on how our actions are affecting the greater good or the greater whole, especially with communities like this, and how the things that we say and do have effects. And we're going to see that play out more and more and more. So, all of the people who are out there who have been putting information in front of people, sometimes, over the last few years, we got a lot of you're a conspiracy theorist, you're this, you're that, a lot of ad hominem attacks, right? Or people just saying that you're crazy. But with the overturning of so many of the different programs and levels that have been engaged over the last year and how many of these people were thought that they were pursuing truth and being on the right side of history, finding out that everybody was lying to them, all the powers that be have been lying to them. So now they're going to be more accountable for their own actions as well as us. We're going to be doing the same thing because we're going to want to bring people into the fold. We're not going to want to push people away from these types of understandings, right? So it's a big deal. This is what's happening all around us. There's waves and waves and waves and droves of people who are waking up. Now, a lot of us wanted to say that, you know, that the solstice was a cutoff point. And while it may have started the cutoff point, I don't believe that we're fully down the river, and we're hanging onto that branch to sort of give whoever needs that last kick in the ass to jump in, right? And jump in with both feet and get all the way wet. Like that's what we're trying to do. Stephen and Evan, they talk about the fast flowing river. That's also an anagram for essentially, what's going to happen with time itself. Time is speeding up. And why is that? Because we're enjoying our lives more. We're feeling these fluctuations in energy. And we're all getting lambasted with different energies daily that we've never felt before, right? There's a connecting love that is so prevalent in society today, but there's also the opposite, and they're feuding. They're feuding, and this is where we're gonna sort of recompartmentalize our love, and those people who want to stay on that hateful bound are going to just basically start to fade into the outskirts because we're taking center stage. There's a lot of people within these movements, and some people will call us new age, but I don't truly believe that 100%. I think we're a little bit more of the open spiritual community, right? We like to evaluate all different information and all different sides of things and to really truly get into the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about. And nobody's talking about saying that you have to believe everything that anybody says anyway, especially on my channel, Omar's channel, and things like that. We present you information, we take from it what you want, and that's the end of the story. We are not arbiters of truth, right? And everything we say is completely, I'm not saying we don't put falsehoods in front of you, but we haven't, cornered the market on just our truth is the only truth. That's what I'm trying to say properly without sounding crazy. But so, there's a lot of things happening to us, and and that's a question I wanted to ask to the people listening tonight. Have you felt it? Have you felt the difference in community, society? Have you felt the difference in yourself? Let's take it back to the I level of it, right? And the me portion. I'm telling you, there are moments throughout the day where I can feel waves of tremendous amounts of energy just wash over me. And all of a sudden, I'm able to see the next steps, 7 steps forward, 16 steps back, but I'm able to see the entire picture. And then it'll sort of fade to the background for a moment. And you sit there and you think to yourself, what was giving me that insight or that reality or that ability to see up and down that timeline? And during meditation is one thing, but walking down the street and having just that instant moment of boof, like holy crap, you start to sweat a little bit. You're like, wow, this is something's really going on. And this is the grid trying to correct itself, and it's rooting out those that AI artificial structure. And you could be there when it's pushing that. It's sort of like when you dam up a river, right? And that river gets dammed, and the beavers make their home in that dam, and that water is being held back. So does such energy, right? And once that dam is broken, that energy and that water comes flowing down, boom, quick, and it washes over everything, right? So this can also be a very emotional time for people. Susan says that she felt waves at times and was moved to tears, joyful tears. It can be emotional. You know why? Because you're realizing your fullest potential. It's coming to the forefront and working towards those specific, you know, things that we want for ourselves is being incorporated in our energetic journey, in our energetic path. And what does that mean, right? That means that there's no hiding anymore, right? We're not hiding anymore. We're out there, we're in the open, and we're receiving and outputting massive amounts of energy. Massive amounts of energy. So I see that Eleanor was with us tonight. Eleanor, great to see you. It's been a long time. I got to get you back on the show. So, you know, this is some of the stuff we see happening, but one of the things we're also seeing is these old programs. These old programs are trying to make a subtle push back to the forefront, and they know that they've lost. They know that they can't get to that forefront spot, but they're trying anyway. And I'm not sure if this is just essentially, damage for the sake of damage, or collateral damage because they know that they're not going to win and they're trying to take whoever they can with them, or if it's because we're seeing such a crumbling to the structures that have been set up in countries, in science, in health, in energy, across the board. Those those programs are losing their structure, and they're becoming fundamentally unsound. So when people interact with these programs, immediately they feel that gut feeling, something's off, something's not right here. And this is happening all over the world. There are governments that are falling all over the world because people aren't seeing what they think that they deserve. And these people that have that have their boot on the neck of so many others are feeling the fluctuations, and they're feeling remorse. Or is that remorse basically just kind of like a guilt trip for themselves and getting people back into line? But they never will. And I see it on a microscopic level, which is interactions throughout the day, to a tremendous level of, you know, governments, interactions, things like that. And then I see it on a galactical level too. The galactical programs are starting to fade away, and they're starting to crumble beneath our feet. And this can be a really disconcerting time for a lot of people because those programs was all they knew. And this is one of the things that the course that we're coming up with is going to help you. Is going to help you reprogram for your style, for what you want to see. And we can make tailor-made programs for ourselves. And most people don't do that. Or they don't know that, right? And it's so right, Gray. You're so right. Most of human history is a big lie. And that's one of the things we've tried to cover on this channel, because the different perspectives of where humanity came from, how humanity interacted with each other and others, interdimensional, extra dimensional, and etc. You know, it's all a lie. It's all a lie, and they've put these programs in to essentially capitulate us to their will. And we said we've all stopped our foot in the ground and said, no more, no more. It's over. So we have to get to these points of creating our own programs. And I think that that's something we're seeing all over the place. You see a lot of people who are just immensely happy. As bad as things are in the outside society, people are happy. And why is that? Because they're not co signing those programs, they're creating their own. So nothing is off limits, right? Everything is up for grabs right now. And that is such an amazing point, Nancy. It says I have to be careful what I say to friends who are still clinging to the old paradigms. There are so many people in your life who are going to clutch and grasp at those old paradigms for dear life, because they don't know what the other side is like. To them, what we talk about sounds like woo woo stuff, all that woo woo nonsense. And I'm sure you've all heard that. We've all heard it. We've all heard it. You know, I I see that more people are receptive to at least having the conversation. To me, that's a step in the right direction, because they feel that things are not the way that they used to be. There's an inversion of logic and reality. And these are the powers that be changing mindsets on a whim, and then forgetting that they essentially told us something different 2 days before. So reality seems to be an inversion. And this is the inflection point because when we know who we are and what we're rooted in and what we're grounded in, no matter what they say, it just bounces off. It's gone. It's boom. It's gone. See you. See you. No need. No need for that. And this is the inversion of reality. But it's sad to see some of these people stuck in that inversion. And here's the thing: we have to not feel sad for them. They have a choice. It is their choice to stay within that paradigm or move to a different one. Even if it's not completely demolishing the old paradigm, it's sort of one foot in, one foot out. That's on them. And we can only be responsible for ourselves. So helping others is something that we should do, but you can't help others at the damage of yourself. Get what I'm saying? You can only It's only advantageous to help others when it's helping you at the same time, right? We can't put ourselves in harm's way to help another. Some people will, and some people risk it all to do that. I am one of those people. I'm telling you that you shouldn't do that, but I do it myself. And it's difficult. It's difficult to not get caught up in that. But being able to discern between that old paradigm and a new one is a big difference too. And keeping one foot in to help as many as you can and one foot out, but you can't dive all the way back in and all the way back out. That's when you get caught. You get caught in the center. And then you may not fall within either paradigm. You might just be out there lost forever, right? We can't have that either. So in the beginning stages of finding out your programs and yourself, you have to help others when it's not going to be detrimental to you. And that's one of the biggest pieces of advice I could give because how many times, and we could use money, money's an energy, right? How many times has somebody asked you for money and all you had left was 20 bucks? And you said, you know what? You probably need it a little bit more than I do. Here's 15 and I'll keep five. This will just be for my lunch. And then 2 days later, you're at zero and you need to get lunch again. And there's no way to get that lunch. You have to do something else to provide for yourself at that point. This is what I mean by not being detrimental to yourself. And I know I'm using money, and money is kind of a shitty way to put it, but I'm only using it in the effect of, you know, in the market and how we're going to, buy something for ourselves. And you can't do that to yourself. You have to make sure that you're good first because you have to ask yourself the question too is if you're not good, are you truly helping that other person? Right? That's the other thing. We may feel like we're helping them or trying to help them, but really we're going to be doing more harm. And this is another thing that we have to take into account when we're out there. And we should, and it's crazy I just said that, but I'm going to say to you again that we should be helping everyone. We should be helping everyone because this is information. It's word of mouth. And that's what we're giving to the people every day. Word of mouth. Whoever it is, have a conversation. If you don't have the time, I get that. That's another point where it might be detrimental to you to have that conversation. The conversations are never 5 minutes. You start, it ends up being 20, 25 minutes, and then you've either made a friend or somebody's going to look at you like, man, you are out of this world. You're out of this world. But I digress. So, again, these are the things that we're seeing, but it seems, again, outside that we don't need to really wake as many people up. They already know something's up, right? And this is where we kind of have to change tactic now. Now, because of this solstice and the awakening is happening, even when we're not truly, pushing for it, it's just happening on its own now. We have to change tactics. People are out there. And again, there's thresholds. Everybody has a threshold. So if I talk to somebody one on one and they love politics, they love it, they love it, they're ins and outs of politics. And you want them to kind of see that there's more to this story than what they're truly seeing, right? So you're going to have to engage them within that political conversation. And then you're going to have to use that as their threshold and kind of show them that there is more to not just politics, there's more to who we are at the same time, right? So we have to do that now because there's so many people waking up. And this is kind of dovetail into my gratitudes a little bit because I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be able to do this, right? I'm so grateful to have a voice that works, that I can, enunciate my words. I'm so grateful that I have eyes and I can read the information. I'm so grateful that I can meditate and see up and down my timeline and feel different things through meditation. I'm so grateful that I've had these interactions with so many people over the last 2 years. And this is happening every day, right? And this is why it's something that we have to notice. And this is sort of where we start to change our focus. Gratitude is life changing. It's life changing, right? And when you have gratitude, things start to become different. If we stay within negative mindsets, right? We tend to hurt ourselves in the sense of emotional damage, sometimes physical damage. But I use this a lot. It's just like going for a job interview, right? And you go there and you leave that job interview and you're like, "Oh, I did so great. I did so great." And you get your hopes really high. And you're like, "Well, wait a minute. You never get it's a week goes by, right? You never get a call back. They never even feel like that they didn't even consider you for the position. Now, you don't know what happened. You don't know if maybe they were like, "You know what? We can't have that position anymore. We were going to hire for it, but now we don't have the money to pay that person." And that's not usually where our mind goes. Our mind goes to maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe it was me. And I'm grateful that I've been able to change my mindset, which is something that takes a lot of work. But again, this is something else that I feel is very prevalent in the energy workshop that we're going to touch on. And we're going to practice it, right? It's going to be practice in the sense that there's different things that you can do in just your words alone that will change your perception on something and it will make it easier to overcome or easier to accept or easier to look towards the next endeavor, right? One of the things that we find ourselves in this kind of information is we can stay within one section. We could talk about meditation for 500 episodes. Eventually, it's going to get a bit stagnant. We're going to be repeating ourselves. Such happens in life, right? We do the same routine over and over and over and over, becomes stagnant. And this also happens emotionally when we start to get beaten down on a lot. We start to get into that stagnant, and that stagnant tells us that we're not good enough. Uh, you know, Nobody likes me. Why is God doing this to me? Why am I being punished? And this was me 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I was that guy. I was that guy. God hates me. God hates me. Now, it doesn't have to be God, it could be the universe, whatever. It hates me. It is throwing every curveball to watch me stagger, to watch me fall. Man, I must be some piece of shit. I must be because this is what's happening. And it took a lot to get out of that. A lot. A lot of reprogramming. I don't talk about myself a lot because I don't like to talk about myself a lot, but I'm going to tell you this, right? This was a moment in my life that I'm grateful for, because seeing how bad things could actually get lets me into a different chapter, that essentially even the worst days are not so bad, right? And I can find positivity in everything and anything. And all it took was a few phrases changed, but my personality has changed because of it too. I used to be very outgoing in the sense of no filter. I'd say anything, I didn't care. I was that guy. I was that guy. I was that loud New Yorker who is Italian and, you know, just loves to mess with people. Let's get them all riled up. That's what I like to I used to do that all the time. And now I'm a bit more reserved in public. I mean, I come and talk on here with you guys, and that's, you guys are like family, so I get to be myself again a little bit. But in public, I'm a lot more reserved, and I'm a lot more, confidential, I guess is the way to say it, because I don't want to interject anything negative onto others, because actions can be perceived in multiple ways, right? I may find it funny, but those people could essentially find it as a slight, or could cause drama, right? So instead of if I went to a few job interviews and I thought that I was a shoe in for the job, like there was nobody better. I used to be a salesman. I went to a sales job, and for a specific company, and a friend had recommended me to that company. And I said to, and this was actually quite recent too. So this was before my job now, and I was looking for another job to help fund what we're doing here. So I was going to sell windows. I was going to sell some windows. That's what the job was. And I mean, when I tell you I smoked this interview, I thought I have 12 years of salesman experience as a car salesman, as a jungle gym salesman, as uh, um, a space salesman, like selling spaces and things like that. I've got credentials in sales, and I used to be very, very good at it. Very, very good at it. I was on a list of the top salesmen within New York. But just put it to you that way. I'm not trying to float my own boat, but there was a there was an enjoyment out of selling to people, but being able to do it my way, and not being that snake in the grass salesman, by being completely upfront and helping people. So, and eventually I had to get away from the job because a lot of the people I worked for in sales wanted me to be that snake in the grass and just get people to sign on a paper regardless of what the effect was afterwards. And I was having a real battle in my mind. I can't be that person. I can't be that person that is going to have somebody sign a 6, 7 year loan, which they know they can't afford, and then their car's going to get repoed, their credit's going to be damaged, and God forbid they ever have to go get an apartment or a house or even a job, and people run their credit report. I could be responsible for that person's downfall. I would not do that. I wouldn't do it. So back to the story. I'm going to get the sales job, and the person interviewing me really loved me. The boss, I talked to the owner and the general manager of the entire company. It's a pretty big company. We're very, very well-known company. And, within my area, I guess is the best way to say it. But it I never received a call back. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, are you gotta be kidding me? And the crazy part was my wife was sitting at the computer across from me listening to the whole conversation with the interview, because she was doing work on her side, and we have a kitchen table where we face each other while we're doing work on the computer, because we smile, we wink at each other, we have fun while we're doing real work, right? We keep each other entertained, we say funny things. And she thought she works in, like, she does interviews for places that she works. That's what she does. And she thought I knocked it out of the park. like knocked it out of the park. So I don't hear anything back. And then a few days later, they did email me and said that they were going to pass on me. And I'm like, how is this possible? I thought that I did great, but I could have gone to a place like, you know what? Screw that. That's bullshit. And I could have really scorned myself. And instead, I said to myself, what could I have done, or what can I do next time to essentially work more towards being a little less, I guess, abrasive in the sense that telling them like what I've done and how I've done it, and what trying to be a little bit more reserved during those times in the interview. Now, again, I look at my wife and she's like, "That's not really a great idea. You should be a little more outgoing during those interviews because it helps the people to understand who you are." And I'm like, you know what? It's been a while since I've interviewed you. You're very much right. Right. So, long story short, I found out that somebody who I was friends with a very, very long time ago, who I did have a falling out with because of the way that, the way that I was back then was a little more outgoing and boisterous and things like that. And he was very good friends with the owner, and they talk every day. Come to find out that that guy was in the owner's ear, telling him that I'm not a good person. I shouldn't be that, I shouldn't have a job there. This person also worked with these people at one point as well. And as far as I knew, I thought we were at least on, decent terms. And it came to me as a bit of a shock that somebody had bad mouthed me to this employer. And to me, I felt sorry for that person because the job was nevertheless neither here nor there, right? If I get the job, I get the job. If not, I'll go to the next one. It doesn't make a difference. And I have a job now, so it doesn't make a difference. But I felt bad for that person with how angry they had to be to essentially stop somebody from feeding their family, right? This person took it upon themselves to say that guy, talking about me, doesn't deserve to have money and a place to stay or food in his mouth or a podcast that he's trying to build and get more stuff together. That's what he said about me in so many words by doing that. And this is one of the reasons why I quit sales in the first place, is because I would never be that guy. So it really brought full circle what what was more important to me. And that was what was more important to me was keeping who I am in the forefront and right up front. So I said all that because it just shows you that those are times where I could have, you know, gotten this guy's email or phone number. We still have mutual friends, and called him and said, "Man, what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Why would you do that?" But instead, I prayed for him. I said, "You know what? He needs maybe a course correction, or he needs some guidance. Maybe he's not the happiest person in the world." And they always tell you misery loves company, right? So it's little things like that. And I had gratitude for him because he showed me that first I have to be on my toes with everything, right? And to not get complacent with who we are right now, and strive towards being even better and helping even more, right? So a lot of what we're doing is we're not expressing the gratitude. And I think that's something we have to really work for. We really have to express gratitude, even for the people who did things like that. Because as much as he would like to, he can never hold anybody back. The only person he's holding back is himself, because he's not letting the expressions of love shine over him or into his heart, right? And I wouldn't wish ill will on him ever, ever. I would hope that he would find that's something that makes him that happy, and he can express that to others, because that's truly the greatest gift. And I enjoy the greatest gift all the time, which I am eternally grateful for. And that's being right here on this platform with this information. That's my gift. People see it as work. No, this is a gift. And that's why I will never take advantage of this, or I will never use this to you know, really push people in a direction that they don't want to go. Otherwise, it'd be no better than me going back to that salesman position, and I'm not doing that, right? What I try and do, and yes, sometimes we have paid events and paid courses. It's not to be a millionaire. It's to sustain what we're doing and hopefully use that to bring more in. And that's why I got the job too, because it gives me the ability to make my website even greater and make it more interactive and official and have more ability to have chat boards and commenting voice commenting and things like that. Like, this is the stuff we're working towards, and then we're working towards the crown jewel of it all. And I can't give away the entire idea of the crown jewel, but the crown jewel is a one stop place to access the Library of Alexandria type information. That is the one stop shop. That is the future of full spectrum universe. I told you from day one I was an archivist, right? And I've been archiving everything and anything. When I tell you that I have so many charts, so many charts, these charts are going to be in the courses. You will also get PDF files and you will get things to take with you. That is going to be the biggest takeaway from it. You will have the information at your disposal all the time. Again, and we're going to set up the courses so that because they're paid courses because of the time that it's going to take to produce these, what we're going to do is we're going to set up different subjects on different times and places, and we're going to announce those. So you can either purchase the entire package of all the course, or you could do each individual um, session. So you don't have to buy into a tremendous course. You're only going to take what you want from it, because that's all I want you to take is what you need and what you want, right? So I'm grateful for the cognitive ability to be able to think of different ways to interact with you, the people, to build this community. I'm so eternally grateful for that, because it gives me ideas, right? It gives me ideas to expand on what we already know and figure out ways to share this information. And it's just, I'm so grateful for everything. I'm grateful for my wife, who puts up with me all day, every day. From the 1 hour a day or 1 hour every few days that you guys see of me, I can be a handful. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. When I don't know if it's a downside, but one of the downsides to researching all the time, or one of the adverses to researching all the time, is when she brings something up, I immediately go into like teacher mode, and I want to like go down these rabbit holes and talk to her all about this stuff. And she does listen a lot, but you know, it's I can like monologue for a moment. It's really, really bad. And sometimes it happens when I'm at work too, and I'm supposed to be working and I'm monologuing. So I'm super, super grateful for my wife. She has turned me into the man I am today, and she has made me a 120% better person. Right. And we got married this last year, and it's been an incredible journey so far. And, she's definitely my twin flame. And it's been quite a ride. Again, I tell you, people, I'm a handful. I'm a handful. But so I'm grateful for Kathy Mason as well. Kathy Mason is incredible, and she literally rode the storm during that event, right? it so many of us were not able to be there the whole time. She just took it all in stride and literally just went, she went amazingly to all these different places in her brain and just came out with it all from her soul and love it. I'm eternally grateful for Sugar Bee and Stone Hobbit. I'm eternally grateful for Susan and everybody out there. And if Ronnie is out there, one of the mods, my friend Johnny, he's been my lifelong friend for probably the last 30 years. Jesus, it's been forever. So I'm grateful for the structure and I'm grateful for all of the ability that we have to connect with each other. And I'm grateful for platforms. It's going to sound crazy, but I'm grateful for platforms that give us the ability to meet all of these amazing people and connect. There is positivity in some of those platforms. A lot of it's negative, but there's a lot of positivity there. There's a lot of people around the world I don't know if I would have ever met if not for those platforms. Stephen and Evan Strong, Stone Hobbit. They were in Australia. I've never been down under. So I don't know if I would have ever met them, right? So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the connections that I've made with people and the way that I'm grateful for the way that they've changed my life. It's been an amazing journey this year. And I'm ending this year on a very, very strong note of love because next year, that's all we're getting into is love. Yes, Andromedan, I am an Alpha Centauran starseed. That is what I am. And I've had communications with Alpha Centauri, and they've told me some pretty amazing things. And I've been cataloging it, and I haven't really told the entire story of what they've been giving me from this point. And I'm just keeping that close to the chest for now because it's not complete yet. So maybe that'll be my first book. I don't know. All I do know is that there is a book in process. I'm going to be writing a book very, very shortly. Um, it's going to be, I believe, a lot of the galactic information that we've talked about. Um, and that's the other thing I want to do too is, I like to think of myself as a historian, not just a human historian, but a galactic historian. I want to start doing sessions where we're going to make everybody a galactic historian. Really get into even more of what the galactic stuff that we've done, right? We've done a lot of galactic stuff here, and it's it's been really eye opening, even for me doing the work, right? Just reading it all, and I really feel like that people can benefit from that, and I really want people to benefit from that if they so choose. So I think we're going to dive a little deeper into that stuff too. So well, we may do courses or sessions on that too, so you can be a galactic historian as well. So we're at about 48 minutes. I am grateful that you've all been here for almost an hour, and I'm grateful that you chose to come here, and that means the world to me. It really does, and I will do everything within my power to bring you as much information as I possibly can at all times. If you haven't joined our Telegram group, the chat is there's always something going on in the chat, different topics being tossed around, and different YouTube videos and Rumble videos and BitChute videos. We really have a great time over there. We're really sharing information on a real crazy level over there. So if you're not involved, please be involved because we'd love to have you. Um, Also, if you haven't subscribed or hit that like button or shared this out yet, please do. As many in any platform that you think will benefit from this information. And also, please, one more time, when we finish here, please leave a comment underneath this video when it's finished. If YouTube sees people interacting with the video, they push it. When they push it, we get in front of more people and our community grows. And we can only benefit from that because it's more perspectives to add to the collective. And it's also more experience and stories to dissect and go over and have a good time doing it. So I love you all. This has been sort of an impromptu type of episode where I just rambled the whole time, but we had a good time. We had a lot of fun. I I hope everybody has an amazing end to their year, and you know, into the beginning of a new year. I wish you nothing but prosperity, health, abundance, wealth, love, and a higher vibratory state. R- Remember, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. And if not us, then who? Also, the information is the activation. So try and absorb it wherever you can get it from. All right. My name is Rob Yox. This has been Full Spectrum Universe. Happy holidays. Have a great new year. I hope everybody stays safe out there. Be present in the moment, because when that ball drops, I'm going to be sending out a complete wave of love to all of you. And I'm sure you're going to feel it. So until next time, I'm going to ask you if you felt it too and see if it works. I'm going to try and do a meditation exactly at 12 o'clock to try and touch all of the people who have touched me over this past year and, on this platform. So thank you all. I love you all, and we'll see you all next time.